All right. It's good to be back. It has been a little while, and as such, a lot of messages have been piling up. And we're going to take care of a lot of those today by kicking things off with a mailbag. We have a lot to cover, so let's just get into it. Hi, Frater. Since I've purchased your programs, I've made a few candle spells, which are my favorite. Money magic work great, but I have some doubts with other spells. I'm having lots of problems in my career. I'm not having job interviews nor regular jobs. Last year, my petition was something like, I have a legal job, as a PR, which I like. A few months later, I got a job, but it was as a publicist and not legal. I was paid in hand without any contract. I was fired soon afterwards. Okay, so the first thing that I would want to ask, are you yourself legal? Because getting all this work that's paid under the table to the point that you would have to make a statement of intent to find legal work, so it makes me wonder if you yourself are legal. Because if you're not, that may be a place where you want to start. Because it'll be a lot harder for you to find legal work if you yourself are illegal. And if you're not illegal, then you may want to look in other places. Because if all you're finding is under the table work, you may not be seeking employment through the correct channels. And we'll get back to this. He continues. Much later on, I did another candle spell. My petition was something like, I have a beautiful, sexy girlfriend who I feel like my soulmate. A few months later, I met a girl at the dentist that looked at me as if she really, really liked me. She even said a compliment to me. That never happens to me. I don't want to sound superficial, but she wasn't as my petitions stated. So she wasn't beautiful and sexy, because that was your entire petition. And if that was your entire petition, you may be superficial. She's like,
hey boy, you looking good.
You just got to take the compliment. He goes on to say, I remembered later what you said about opportunities. Yes, you have to take opportunities when they're presented to you. Not doing so is almost disrespectful and ungrateful, as it seems that the less opportunities you take, the less that are presented to you. He says, what happened? These spells worked without taking the parameters into account? No, not necessarily. It's just that you've used very subjective parameters. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's like people who cast for wealth. I want to be wealthy. Well, if you live in the U.S., you're already wealthier than a large portion of the globe. So just simply saying wealthy isn't a good measurement. And it's the same thing with beauty, sexiness, etc. You're far better off saying what you want. I want a brunette, about 5'4", green eyes, dial it in without being overly specific as to limit yourself. In other words, instead of just saying beautiful, say what's beautiful to you. List those qualities. He says, maybe I need a road opener first. Yeah, that's a good idea, especially on your job hunt. And also remember that magic supports the action and action supports the magic. Sometimes magic can do it all by itself, but other times you need to take action. So if you happen to be illegal, you need to take steps and actions towards being legal, or steps in action to look at other places for work, where the jobs are not just all under the table work and tax-free. Like I said, I don't know your details. I don't know if you are illegal or not, but you really can't fault employers these days for not wanting to take risks and face huge fines in the era of Trump. Anyone hiring illegals will probably not put it on paper and make it official. Just a hunch. And so it just may be that there's nothing available for what you're asking. You're having an effect. You're getting results. You're just not getting the ones that you want. So yes, do a road opener. Work on what we talked about and taking action. Fine-tune your parameters and keep doing what you're doing. You're getting there. You just need to dial it in. This is why it's called a magical practice. We keep practicing. The more we practice, the better we get. And I appreciate you writing in. Thank you. All right, so here's a comment I enjoyed. Yes, I enjoy your comments too, but I was actually talking about I just bought Love and Loss, and it taught me I don't want love right now. Thanks, Frater. Yeah, you're welcome, you bet. Sometimes you think you want something and you really don't. You know, it could have saved you a lot of time, hassle, and money. So, yet another happy customer. In all seriousness, though, if you feel you're not ready for something like that, then yeah, that's probably a wise decision. Thanks for sharing. Hello, Frater Xavier. I'm sorry for having to ask you this because I know you have already answered this question in one of your videos, but how do I perform the neophyte meditation? Do I just empty my mind of thought and stare at the point for 20 minutes? Yes, just meditate on the point. Then he goes into his thoughts on it and what it could all mean, and asking for my take on it. But I'm not going to get into all of that because it's something that you need to discover and experience for yourself, okay? This is how you learn to begin to access divine knowledge. The answers won't come to you while you're meditating on the point. They will come to you later. They will just pop into your head, or you'll just have a knowing. So you don't want to sit there and try to assign meaning to it with the conscious mind. The grade meditations are just like magic. Instead of putting in a request for something to manifest, you're putting in a request for knowledge. And just like in magic, you will gain that knowledge when you least expect it, when you're not consciously thinking about it. Okay? I hope this clears it up for you. And thanks for the question. I think you're pretty much a god amongst men. I think you may have the wrong channel, sir. Perhaps you are looking for the EA show. I'm not a god amongst men. Look, I'm far from. But the great work of a magician is to bring those closer to the divine. And that's what I strive to do. And just in answering the previous question, that's one way of doing it. By telling you how to access divine knowledge. Simply by meditating on it. I do appreciate the sentiment, but that's too high a praise that I am not worthy of. All right, next up. My question is there a way to practice daily formulas and temple rituals without the Judeo-Christian god names and paradigms? No. You were talking about Kabbalah magic and the Golden Dawn systems? No. There just really isn't any substitute for that. So if you have a problem with using Hebrew and using Judeo-Christian god names, then ceremonial high magic is probably not for you. And you may want to just stick with Wicca or witchcraft. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't learn from ceremonial magicians such as myself, but if you're having problems with the paradigm, then it's not going to do you any favors to practice within that paradigm. I mean, that is the main reason I took up ceremonial magic, because going outside of the Judeo-Christian paradigm was a problem for me. Yeah, so don't force it on yourself if you're not down with it. Thanks for the question. I just purchased a 7 planetary magic from you, and I've been wondering, can we use this against the that are ruling us and destroying millions of lives without being noticed? Probably not without being noticed. I mean, can we make an attack Mars spell on them with a cloak of invisibility? And how? Do you know how to do it? Because I'm quite sure they use magic on us, so I'm afraid attempting that alone could reverse into me. Come on, man. Bill Gates is going to block the sun. When is this going to stop? Aren't we entitled to have our own freedom? Where's our voice? See, this is why I advise to stay away from the conspiracy stuff. And it doesn't have anything to do with Bill Gates blocking the sun. He very well may be, for all I know. No, number one, it's to keep you from being paranoid and freaking out. If you're paranoid and freaking out, you wouldn't be able to do effective magic anyway. Because you need to be relaxed when you do magic. I mean, you've heard it before, desperation magic is bad magic. Well, being paranoid and freaked out has that fidgety, nervous quality to it, the same as desperation. You have to be relaxed to do magic effectively. Number two, it keeps you focused on yourself instead of what others are doing. But they're killing the world. Well, how you plan on changing the world if you can't change yourself? And by changing yourself, you will change the world. You will change your entire reality. As within, so without. If you're paranoid and freaking out, why wouldn't the world around you be freaking out as well? You know, I've said it before. A lot of people want to save the world, but they haven't saved themselves first. And if you do save yourself first, you'll have a much easier time saving the world because you'll become a beacon for those who desire to be saved. Now, I know there's a lot of bad in the world. I'm not saying that turning a blind eye to it is what everyone should do. But if you're paranoid to the point of freaking out, it may be something that you need to do for a while, just to be able to clear yourself. Because I'll tell you right now, based on what you wrote, you are in no condition or position to be crossing magic with the powers that be. Your hunch is correct on that. You should instead be focusing on yourself, worrying about what you can control in your own life, and not worrying about the things that you can't control. So don't worry about these things, and understand that we're here to experience both the good and the bad, and that you can't have one without the other. I really screwed myself over, Frater. I did learn, though, and also changed my reality in a couple different positive and unbelievable ways as well. But I put my practice on hold after about 6 months because I'm not sure what I did. I meditated every day and was focused and excited, but I don't really know what I did wrong. When things went wrong, our washing machine broke down, though, and my boyfriend found a Ouija board behind it, so maybe it wasn't me. I think possibly I conjured something up on accident with the energy that was already here. You're not supposed to meow meow. And I thought I paused the recording before I reached down to pet my cat, but apparently I didn't. Now what the hell, I'll leave it in. You can see how goofy I am with my animals. So basically you were doing magic, things were turning out great. Until they weren't, and things started going wrong. Your washing machine broke, you found a Ouija board behind it, and you're wondering if it's the Ouija board or if somehow you caused it. Now, as long as you're closing your circle each and every time you do magic at the end, you shouldn't have any problems. You know, you always close doors behind you. So going forward, I would just make sure that you seal your circle at the end of each and every operation. And in the meantime, you'll want to banish and smudge the area just to be sure. You'll want to get a smudge stick of white sage and smudge the entire house. That should handle it if the worst you're experiencing is a broken washing machine. Oh, and get rid of the Ouija board. Those things are more dangerous than probably anything you'll ever do in your magical practice. Because it's real easy to leave doors open with a Ouija board. Not only that, but you're inviting anything and anyone to those doors. And they have a knack for attracting low vibration spirits. Thanks for the question. I understand attraction involves items, for want of a better word, of similar vibrations attracting one another. I also understand as part of polarity that once you position your mindset in opposition to an item, you will attract that item. No. Mentally, on the mental level, like attracts like. That's why people with similar ideas group together. Physically, that is, on the physical level, opposites attract, as demonstrated by magnets. Opposite poles attract and like poles repel. So start with that and see if that helps get you out of your pickle. Would Scorpio be best for secret sexual encounters?
Hey boy, you looking good. Come to mama.
Venus in the 12th house corresponds with clandestine affairs and relations. But I could see why you would think it would be Scorpio. I really can't fault you for that. Because Scorpio does stay behind the scenes and has those sexual correspondences. But Venus in the 12th has more to do with secret affairs than Scorpio does. Of course, now everyone's going to rush to check their partner's chart. Thanks for the question. A few years back, I got into occultism by being a Luciferian. I was an edgy idiot who ended up working with dark spirits and eventually having one drive me insane. I found your channel and was able to rid myself of the spirit and the negative energy surrounding me. Good job. My life has improved greatly since then, I bet. And I'm about to graduate from grad school. I even have a girlfriend now. Things have improved a lot. But I still feel this pull towards dark spirits, specifically Goetic magic. I feel a pull towards one spirit who I will not name, but is the 9th spirit ranked. Nothing negative has happened, but I don't want it to get out of hand. Then you shouldn't do it. Because look, given your history, I wouldn't be able to recommend you working with spirits again. Not dark spirits, anyway. So if you're looking for my approval on it, I can't give it to you. Not when you say that one literally drove you insane. You did all this work to get rid of all that negativity. Why would you want to bring it back? Have you ever thought that these desires that you have may not even be yours, but the spirits, making you think that they're yours? If I were you, I would stick with basic magic that you don't need to call upon spirits for. You can get a lot accomplished without having to delve into the darkness. Thanks for writing in. And I've saved the best for last, because this is a testimonial. We love success stories here. Dear Frater, I thought it's about time I give some value back and tell you my success story that I got from discovering your channel and using your programs. Before discovering your channel, I was in a very negative space. I was hanging out on a particular well-known internet forum that is known for being very radical and negative. My mind was full of anger towards the political situation in the world. I was completely polarized by one side. I was misogynistic, hated women, had zero success with them, judged people, etc. Worse, I was talking about extreme political views to others, including friends and family. I was close to alienating my friends and family because I was so polarized and negative. Then, on that very forum, someone posted a link to one of your videos. And that was the moment that changed everything. I watched every video, stopped browsing the forum, stopped reading the mainstream news, started meditating, started looking into personal development and the YouTubers you suggested, RSD, Bob Proctor, etc. I later bought some of your programs and experimented with them. Here are some of my experiments. Number 1, the orange ball. I had done my own sigil for an orange ball. One day I was looking out my window, just randomly for no reason, looking around, and boom, there it was, an orange ball. It was like a moment of zen. Time froze and I immediately remembered, oh, I know what that is. Number 2, water magic. Friends with benefits with a very positive girl. In this case, I had cast literally for a positive friend with benefits. Some months later, I'm going out with a dude. We hang out for a bit at the bar. At one point, he has to go to the toilet, so I sit there alone wondering what to do. I look behind me. There are some girls sitting and a seat available. I sit down and immediately talk with a girl who looks very interested in me. We kiss after maybe a minute, and she goes home with me later and good things happen. As we are sitting in the couch at my place, I noticed she is wearing some random looking wristbands. On one of the wristbands, it literally said positive. Yeah, that is 100% magic. That is definitely a sign that your magic has manifested. This one was definitely in your face that yes, this is a result of your magic. So I love it. However, you do need to be a little more careful in the way that you word things. You got a bit lucky that you manifested a girl with a positive bracelet instead of being HIV positive or something. You don't want that. I'm just saying you need to be a little more careful because as we've seen, things can manifest in ways that you don't expect and quite often do. The subconscious doesn't care. Well, technically she was positive. Friendly might be a better word option. She told me she had gotten the wristband some years ago from a kid or something. I didn't think so much about it at the time, but when I later remembered the water magic, my mind was blown. I asked for a positive friend with benefits, and it literally said positive on her wristband. What a coincidence. And she was a very sweet and positive girl. That was the most mind-blowing experience I have had with magic. I kept seeing her for maybe 3 months. We had a great time together. She was a great positive girl. I cannot explain the positive wristband other than it must have been the magic. The odds of that happening are too low. One of my cats is demanding extra attention today. which she will get as soon as I'm done recording. But yes, I agree. That is too much of a coincidence. It is literally what you asked for. And because it's so literal, that's why we need to be careful about what we ask for. But still, great job. Number 3, candle magic, asking for sex.
Hey, boy.
Using a candle with some Mars energy, I was literally asking for sex. On a New Year's evening, I meet some girl that is from the beginning extremely annoying and not that attractive. But she likes me and I committed to try pull her home. All the time she is annoying me and acting childish, pissing me off. When we finally go home and do the act, the condom breaks at some point and I freak out. In turn, she freaks out and there's a very negative atmosphere. Oh, God. I remember you warning about the side effects of Mars energy, and there it was, symbolized by a condom breaking and her attitude. I was therefore quite sure this incident was related to the candle magic. Nonetheless, interesting experience that again convinced me that this thing is real. Overall shift in mindset and attitude. By far the biggest value I got from your teachings is mindset. I am now a very positive person and not that negative guy I used to be. I'm working on myself and my goals. I am spreading love and working to become a more attractive man. I am much more depolarized. I don't care about politics. I realize I cannot change anything politically, but I could do the best to live the life I want and spread love to those around me. I realize the world may be going in a very negative direction, but it's beyond me, and I could still do the best to live an enjoyable life. Those were the main points. I did some other magic as well, including for money, and there is one episode in particular where I received a large year-end bonus a few days before I quit and changed to a better job in another company. I'm pretty sure that was related to some of my magic. Absolutely. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. If I did not find your teachings, probably I would still be that negative, pessimistic, awful person. I think it was around 2 years ago I found your teachings, and most of the magic I did was more than a year ago. At the moment, I'm not doing any magic, but still practicing self-development, meditation, and mindset. Keep doing your thing, my friend. You are changing the world one person at a time. This is how to make the world a better place. Much love and gratitude. You are welcome, my friend. I appreciate you sharing your experience. See, everybody goes for sex and money and things first, and then they realize that mindset and self-development are of greater value. And I'm glad you discovered that early on. And I really like your testimonials because they are typical examples of how magic does manifest. You know, you used Mars energy, and then, of course, you got what you asked for, but you also got the annoyance and a bit of the destruction that comes along with it. You get out what you put in. The positive bracelet girl was great. What I especially like, though, is how you made your own orange ball sigil. Because people who are new to magic, there's nothing that no one can say to prove to you that magic works. I can't say anything. Nobody else is going to be able to convince you. You have to convince yourself. And so the only way to do that is to try things for yourself. And once you start getting results like you've been getting, it's impossible to go back to not believing in magic again. And there's nothing anyone can say that would convince you otherwise. You have experienced it firsthand. And so, yes, I absolutely love this testimonial. Thank you so much for sending it in, and keep up the great work. And that is about all the time we have for today. Leave a like and share this video if you enjoyed it. You never know, someone like this fellow here may see it and it may change their entire life. Follow me at Twitter at Frater Xavier. Consider supporting the channel over at Patreon. I know there's been controversy surrounding them as of late. I'm still waiting for a viable alternative. Until then, this is what we have. Thank you all for listening. I'm Frater Xavier, and I'll see you next time. Take care.